A lot of our personal issues on Seinfeld, Jerry's, Larry's, my own, were bathroom issues. And like I told you, I had the office next to theirs. They had a bathroom in their office, which is kind of a real privilege. But I kind of would just take it upon myself to use their bathroom all the time, which led to the story where George was fired by his boss for using the boss's bathroom.
I go in to use his private bathroom. Everybody uses it. And then I get a memo telling me to use the men's room in the hall. I mean, we share it with Pace Electronics. It's disgusting.
You and your toilets.
It was the last straw.
The script for The Revenge showed up, and it was very funny, very good. And by this time, I had learned that a lot of ideas for shows were coming out of the personal notebook of Larry David. You know, he has this gigantic notebook of thoughts and ideas, but largely things that he's experienced that he thought could be fodder for something one day. And I said, "So Larry, this one happened?" He went, "Yeah."
I got hired as a writer on Saturday Night Live. I wrote there for one season. I got one sketch on the air, which was on at 5 to 1 in the morning. And I quit in the middle of the season.
Said I basically walked in, you know, to the office of this guy and said, "F you, I'm out of here. This is bullshit. You shove this job up your ass," you know, and really just laid it on thick.
That's it. This is it. I'm done. Through. It's over. I'm gone. Finished. Over. I will never work for you again. Look at you. You think you're an important man? Is that what you think? You're nothing. You have no brains, no ability, nothing. I quit.
And on the way home, I realized that I was costing myself a year to live on in salary.
And decided to go back Monday morning like nothing had ever happened, or like it was a big joke. And you know, the guy called him on it, but he said, "No, it was nothing. I was joking."
Am I crazy, or didn't you quit?
Are you kidding? I didn't quit. Why? You took that seriously.
You mean laughing stock, all that stuff?
Come on, will you stop it?
No brains, no ability?
Teasing. What?
Okay. I want you out of here.
You're serious, aren't you? Oh.
In the Revenge episode, it was the beginning of many wonderful times in which Jason and I got to work together and sort of in cahoots. And we, for some reason, we immediately had a sort of a second hand, or I should say shorthand, with one another comedically. And I really relished that.
Hey, thanks for doing this.
Why pass up the opportunity to go to prison?
This is by far the most exciting thing I've ever done.
Yeah, it is kind of cool.
First time in my life I've ever gotten back at someone.
I can't believe we're doing this. This is the kind of thing they do in the movies.
That's exactly what I told Jerry.
Really?
Yes. God, I've never felt so alive.
When we got the script for The Revenge, Kramer pours concrete into the washing machine as a revenge against the laundromat. He insisted on having a 60-pound bag.
I wanted to work with the bag of cement, being a real bag of cement, because it would just give me the weight. I couldn't say, too, that was another turning point. Rather than talking funny, I wanted to do funny.
At some point during that second season, I began to hear from NBC very strenuously about getting Jerry and Elaine together.
I was beating the drum saying their relationship, when they're together, when there are real stakes in their relationship, I believe that is something that the audience can attach themselves to.
They kept persisting, and I was very, very reluctant and resistant, and I wasn't doing it. And then I remembered something from my life that I thought would make a really funny show, even if they had never said that to me. And once I remembered that incident from my past, in which I'm sorry to say I did try and work out a deal where I could actually have this this physical relationship with someone, and yet not have it get to the point where we were boyfriend and girlfriend. And the only way we could do that was if we followed these particular rules, and that became the deal episode.
I mean, if anything happened and we couldn't be friends the way we are now, that would really be bad.
Devastating.
Because this is very good.
And that would be good.
That would be good too. The idea is to combine the this and the that. But this cannot be disturbed.
Yeah, we just want to take this and add that.
I remember the deal. They had that great opening scene about the this, that, and the other.
I still, to this day, consider that the best scene ever in the history of the show, and that's my favorite episode in the history of the show.
I love the deal episode, and I remember a lot of shouting that week. Larry and Andy Scheinman got into a lot of yelling matches on the set about how to end that episode and also about how to play the scene in which Jerry and I make the deal on the couch about what the rules are going to be about sleeping together and then remaining friends somehow.
For example, now I call you whenever I'm inclined and vice versa.
Right.
But if we did that, we might feel a certain obligation to call.
Well, why should that be? Oh, I have an idea. No calls the day after that.
Beautiful. Let's make it a rule.
All right, sir.
I, during the week, was playing it very sexually. And, you know, it's funny because if you read that on the page, you can see that that would be a choice someone would make. By the way, a bad choice, but a choice. And there was a lot of sort of, I felt like Castle Rock pressure to make it all sexy and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't understand what Larry was talking about. He kept saying about it, it's not sexual at all. You gotta talk about it like it's a contract, like it's a business, like a, you know, and I didn't understand what he meant. I really didn't. And it was the night before we were gonna shoot, or maybe it was the night, yeah, it was the night before we were gonna shoot, and I came home and I was talking to my husband Brad about it, as I often did, and I was saying, this is what Larry was saying, and I remember very vividly, Brad said, oh no, but of course he's right. And Brad sort of explained to me in a way that I could hear, because for some reason I was dense, Larry's point of view, which I immediately understood, and then the next day we went in and we played it like that, and that's how it ended up.
I slept with Elaine last night.
Oxygen! I need some oxygen! This is major!
I thought you'd like that.
Oh, this is huge!
I know.
All right, okay, let's go. Details.
Nah, I can't give details.
You what?
I can't give details.
No details?
I'm not in the mood.
You ask me here to have lunch, tell me you slept with Elaine, and then say you're not in the mood for details. Now, you listen to me. I want details, and I want them right now. I don't have a job. I have no place to go. You're not in the mood? Well, you get in the mood.
He could write that potentially ugly underbelly of human motivation that goes, to hell with you and your morality. I got nothing going on in my life. I need some dirt. Give me a reason to live. Hell with you. He could not only write it, but he could write it funny.
Think where man's glory most begins and ends, and say my glory was I had such a friend.
Yates.
Yeah.
Oh.
Could you excuse us, please?
Well, what?
We're talking.
Oh, the relationship.
I do recall the Yates quote, and it's very apropos for the show, of course, overall.
Think of where life begins and ends and say, my glory was I had such a friend.
The motto, no hugging, no learning, of course, still applied to the show, but to be able to say something that was that tender was a great opportunity, and it was a cinch to do because it's a very moving 2 lines of material. So I had no problem with it. I loved it.
That was probably the tenderest moment in the history of the series, and I remember feeling very out of my depth at that time.
So, what are you guys gonna do today?
This and that.
And the other.
Boy, I really liked the two of you much better when you weren't a couple.
We thought that people weren't going to believe that these two were just going to continue to hang out. We thought the idea of them just being friends was stretching credibility, and we thought we had to put them back together. And I think we thought that that's what it was going to be.
Jerry had been on the road during the hiatus and doing concerts and everything, and the show had been sort of picking up some momentum and he would do a question and answer thing, and he would say to the audience, "What do you think about me being with Elaine?" "No!" And he came back and said, "No, no!" And I mean, resoundingly no. So that was that.